I guess. Hello, guys. You're able to hear me?
Yes.
Yes, Binu.
It is clear, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, okay. Sorry, I have some audio issues. So I was speaking, but I did not get any response, so I rejoined. Okay, okay. So let's wait for a couple of minutes, then we'll start. Okay, so it's already 8:12, so let's start the session. So guys, yesterday, are all of you there in the demo? I think Pradeep and Ravi Shankar, I see.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think. And, how about you, Mahi and SJ? You're there
No,
in
I,
yesterday's demo?
no, I was not there.
Oh, okay, okay. So you know already, like what is Snowflake and all? Just I wanted to.
Yeah, I have a little bit idea about that.
Okay, okay, cool. And what about you, SJ? I don't know your name, guys. SJ. Okay, I think. Okay, like, I what I'm going to do is just I'll do a quick recap and then we'll continue with the session. So let me share my screen. It's already getting recorded.
Yeah, it is recording.
Okay,
Yes, recording.
cool. So now, so yesterday just we discussed what is Snowflake, right? How to create a Snowflake trial account and what are the three layers in the architecture part, right? So we have seen these three layers: cloud service layer, compute layer, and the uh, storage layer here. Okay, so this is the course content I was talking about. So we are going to cover 5 modules on Snowflake. So like a Snowflake introduction part, where you will be getting familiar with the Snowflake account creation and how to use the user interface and all. Then we are going to see the Snowflake administration part, like what is the object hierarchy, role hierarchy, and then how to load the data into Snowflake from S3, like Amazon S3. So that we are going to see in module 3, and then how to build the data pipeline, complete pipeline in Snowflake. And in module 5, I'm going to show you what are the Snowflake special features like cloning, time travel, data sharing, and virtual warehouses and some performance tuning technique. So with this, we will be completing the core Snowflake part. Okay, so this is what I'm going to cover as part of Snowflake, and other tools I already discussed yesterday. So we are going to cover other tools like Matillion and some Python integration with Snowflake and AWS anyway I'm going to cover, and the Airflow. Also, I did not add module 10 here, DBT integration. Okay, so completely we are going to cover different tools, how it can be integrated with Snowflake here. Okay, so that is what we are going to cover. Okay. So today what I am going to cover is once we created our Snowflake account, how to set up the Snowflake account, how first the administrators will start setting up your account. Okay, so let's cover that. Okay, let me open my Gmail. So yesterday we created a Snowflake trial account. Let me open that. This is the one which I received yesterday. Okay, so this is the Snowflake user interface, guys. And now if you want to run some queries, first of all, you need to open a worksheet here. So you can open a worksheet in the projects and click on this plus symbol. So you can open a new worksheet here. So this is my yesterday's worksheet. It will be created with the yesterday timestamp actually. So let me open this worksheet here. Okay, so simply we have seen what is the cloud service layer, what is the compute layer, and what is the storage layer here. Okay, so today we are going to discuss about the once your Snowflake account is ready here, right? So how you are going to set up the objects here. Okay, so first of all, let us try to understand what are the different kinds of objects available in Snowflake. Okay, so generally every day, every relational database will have some tables right? It will have views, stored procedures, user defined functions, right? So similar way, what is the object hierarchy of Snowflake? Let us try to understand. Okay. So for that, I need to open one. Okay. So if you see, this is going to be the object hierarchy of Snowflake. Okay. So first of all, you have the Snowflake account created yesterday. Now let us try to understand what are all these objects inside Snowflake. Okay. So inside the Snowflake account, you can create a database. Okay. And inside the database, you can create schema. Now you might be getting a question like what is the difference between database and schema, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to explain you through a diagram. So yesterday we have seen the data will be coming from different source systems into Snowflake, right? So now in order to accommodate the data in the raw data area, so you need to create some database and schema here. So what is the database and schema here, right? So let's say you can think database as a big box. Okay. So this is my database. Now inside database, you can think this as a small box that is schema. That is schema. So why we need this database and schema is to logically separate your data. For example, let's say I am getting the data from different source systems. Let's say this is my sales data, and let's say I am getting the HRMS data. I am getting the data from IoT data, right? So I am going to create different schemas for different sources here. Okay, so let's say I'm creating all the employee related data from a system called HRMS system. Okay, so I'll create a schema called HRMS schema. Okay, so let's say I'm going to create another schema called product inventory. So all the product related information I am going to get from here, right? So if you want to map a source in the Snowflake, it is better you create a schema. So this is good. But what is a database, right? So database is kind of a root folder. So you can think of you'll be creating a root folder. Inside that, these schemas are subfolders. So for example, this database, we are doing a development work. Okay. So what we are going to do is we are going to create a database called dev or development. And inside the development, you are going to create different schemas like HRMS and product inventory. Okay. And similar way, let's say you are going to create another database for testing. Okay. So all the testing will be done in this particular database. So I'm going to create another database called test, and it will be also having the same schemas like HRMS. It is having HRMS. So same HRMS schema and product inventory schema, but this is a testing database. Okay, this is a testing database here. Say products. So similar way for production, generally in the real time, we will have three different environments, right? Development where the developers work, testing. So once your development is done, all the things are tested in a different environment. And after everything is done, we are going to create a production database, or the database is used by the customers, right? So this is my production database. So inside production database, again, you will have two schemas here. Okay. So in the simple terms, if you want to understand what is the database and schema, you can think of this is a root folder and this is a subfolder. Okay, so I'll go back to the diagram. So inside account, you can create a database, and inside database, you can create the schema. Okay, and inside schema, you are going to create the tables. Okay, or you can create views, you can create stages. So we are going to discuss what are stages, stored procedures, user defined functions, and there are a lot of objects here. Okay, so first of all, let me show you how to create this database schema and these objects in the Snowflake. So first of all, everything you're going to show, you're going to see here the object hierarchy. So let's say I'm creating a database. Create database, let's say development. Okay. This database is created. So if you refresh here, you're going to see the database is created and it is always denoted by this cylinder symbol. Okay. And when I expand this database, you are going to see two schemas. Okay. Two schemas by default. So these are some special schemas. I'm not going to touch now. So for every database, these two are some special schemas created in Snowflake. Okay. But let's say now I want to create my own schema called HRMS or my own schema called products or product inventory here, right? So I can do that saying create schema dev dot HRMS. So let's say I want to create HRMS schema. Correct. So now if I refresh here, you are going to see that HRMS schema. But if I expand this HRMS schema, there are no objects here. Nothing is created. Now I can create a table inside this HRMS schema. Okay. And say create table dev.hrms and let's say the table name is employee, right? Employee ID, employee name, let's say it's character and location. Let's take this. So simply I'm creating a table here. Okay. Now refresh it. You're going to see the table here. See, the table is created. So our hierarchy is first of all, you will have a Snowflake account and inside the account, you'll create a database and inside the database, you'll create schema and inside schema, you can create multiple other objects. So here I have shown only table, but you can create a view, you can create a stored procedure, you can create other things. Okay. Now tell me guys, uh, this database or this schema, so which layer it belongs to? So yesterday we discussed about three layers, right? So where this database will fit into? Any guess?
Just the objects or the data in that?
Everything like the database schemas, everything. I mean, say the databases and data in that. So where it will fit into? That yeah, you can
It's in
say
the
data.
storage. That is in
Correct.
storage layer anyway, but I'm thinking about the definition and all. We'll
Yes.
store in
So
somewhere else.
exactly. Yeah. 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 So the definition, the metadata and all will be put into the cloud services layer.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, you're right. So mostly the data, yeah, it's fit into your data layer. Okay. Right. So now coming back to this hierarchy, right? So you have seen database schema and the low level objects here. Now let us try to understand how to create a warehouse. Okay. So warehouse can be created inside the Snowflake account. So when I created my Snowflake account, we are seeing one warehouse here. So yesterday I have shown you this is a warehouse. So what is warehouse here? Virtual warehouse. It's a server provided by Snowflake to run your queries, right? So to run your queries, you have some server. So you can create your own servers here. Okay. So let me say I want to create my own virtual warehouse called development warehouse. So I can simply say create warehouse, development warehouse. Okay, so there are a lot of other options while creating the warehouse, but I'm giving only the basic thing, create warehouse, development warehouse. Now, if you see here, another development warehouse is created with a size of extra small and it is running. It is started here. Okay, so you can create your own warehouse and you can distribute the workload. Let's say I'm running 100 jobs. So 50 jobs I want to run in this particular workload for warehouse and the other 50 will go to in this particular warehouse. Okay, so this is how you can create a warehouse inside your Snowflake account here. Okay, and which layer this warehouse will sit in? This virtual warehouse in the architecture. So if I go back to the architecture, so which layer it sits? The virtual warehouse. It is in the compute layer, right? So yesterday I discussed. So in the compute layer, it is going to sit. Okay. So why I am stressing on this point is in Snowflake, the storage and compute are separated. Okay, so that is the good architecture. So where you'll get a benefit. So I'll tell you one example. Let's say I'm running 100 jobs. Okay, 100 jobs with 10 GB of data or 1 TB of data. Okay, 100 jobs with 1 TB of data with one virtual warehouse. Okay, one virtual warehouse and a database dev is created here. Okay, this is holding 1 TB of data. Okay, this is like an extra small virtual warehouse. Now, over the time, I understood that this particular virtual warehouse is not able to run 100 jobs within some 8 hours. Okay, now I want to scale my computing power. Okay, so what I can do is I can add one more virtual warehouse. Okay, so now I can say I will take two virtual warehouses of extra small size. Okay, and now my 50 jobs will run on first warehouse, warehouse one, virtual warehouse one, and the other 50 jobs will run on second warehouse, right? And still the data is 1 TB. So without touching the storage, you are scaling the compute here. Okay, or another scenario, just I want to increase the storage, still I want to use a single virtual warehouse. I can do that because storage and compute are separated. I can scale them independently. But this is not the case with the legacy databases. So the legacy databases are coming with storage and compute together. So how they come is they will sell a node. Okay, when they say node, they will have this compute plus storage binded together. Okay, so now let's say you have 1 TB of storage, 1 TB of storage, and like one compute power, one virtual warehouse. Now, if I want to have one more virtual warehouse, I need to buy another node, right? So when I buy another node, I'm buying one more TB also here because it is binded together. The compute and storage are binded together here. But in case of Snowflake, they are separated. So that is the reason the architecturally Snowflake is different from the legacy data warehouses. Okay, clear guys? Are any questions here? Okay, good. Now, you know database schema and the low level objects and warehouse. Okay, so let's go back to the hierarchy. I have some problem with my system. Need to. Okay, so we have covered this database, warehouse, and all the low level objects. Now let's see what is a user and role. Okay, so let's say I am the administrator of Snowflake and I got access to my Snowflake account. Yesterday I created the trial account. Now today a data engineer, a developer joined in my team. So he wants to access my Snowflake account. So what I need to do, I need to create a user for him. Okay, so let me show you how to create a user for him. Simply create user. Let's say I'll call it as a demo user or developer one. Okay, so I have created a new user for him. So I'm going to share this user ID and password with him so he can join, he can log in into this particular account. Okay, so I'm opening the same URL in a different window in incognito. Okay, so now this guy is the developer, so he can start opening a worksheet here and he can start running the query here. So this is how you can create a new user in Snowflake. Okay, and if I go back to the hierarchy, there is something called role. Okay, so tell me what is a role in Snowflake? Anyone have any idea? Like what is a role in Snowflake? If you have worked on other databases, you might have heard about roles.
Role means you have to give that grant and permission to access to that
Correct.
some database.
Correct. Correct. So role, you can say it's a set of permissions or set of uh, privileges, we can say. Okay. So I'll give some example. For example, you joined as a developer in my team. I'm the administrator. Okay. I'm the administrator and I have all the control over my objects. So all the databases, all the tables. Okay. So a lot of things I have created. Let's say you joined as a developer in my team. You're developer one. And then I am going to give the access to all these things. So read and write access on this particular table, database, etc. So first of all, I'm giving the access to you. Okay. So let's say I have 1,000 tables. So I gave access to 1,000 tables to developer one. Okay. And tomorrow another developer joined in team or data engineer joined in my team. So he's developer two. And again, I need to give this similar level of access to this guy. Okay. So like this, 10 developers joined in my team. I need to perform this activity, right? Again, let's say I want to remove access to some particular table. So I need to do it for all the developers. This developer, everyone. Okay. So instead of handling these permissions at user level, we can do it at role level. So what we are going to do now is we are going to create a role. Okay. We are going to create a role called developer role, and this developer role will have permission to let's say write access on 1,000 tables. Okay, some other access on the database. So there are different access we are going to discuss. Okay, now once I give this bunch of permission to this role, now I can simply give this role to the all the developers. So if 10 developers joined in my team, just I will bind this role. I will bind this role to all the developers. So tomorrow I realize that I should not have given this access to all the developers. Simply I will remove this from the role. Okay, so what will happen here? So it will be reflected to every developer because you are handling the permissions at role level. Okay, so simply role you can think of a set of permissions here. Okay, so clear guys with the role, or you have any question? Okay, so if you don't have any question, we are going to dig deep into these roles. Okay, this is where most of the administrative actions will happen. So Snowflake has given two different kinds of roles. Okay, so one is Snowflake defined role. Okay, so Snowflake has given some predefined roles. Okay, so if I say Snowflake has two different kinds of role, so one is predefined role. Okay, and second category is custom roles. Second category is custom role. Okay, so custom role means the user is creating as per his requirement. For example, this development role is a custom role. Okay, or I am going to create a role for all the testing team with read access only. Okay, so I am going to create test role. Let's say I'm going to create some access for data scientists. So I'll create data science role, right? So these are all custom roles. Okay, you can create your own role and you can manage the permission here. Okay, so but Snowflake also gave the predefined role here. Okay, so what are those predefined roles here? Let me see. Let me show you. So if I zoom in this particular role, so you are going to see this is the role hierarchy, guys. Okay, so these blue colored boxes are the predefined roles: account admin, security admin, sysadmin, user admin, public. So these are predefined roles, and you can create any number of custom roles like development role, testing role, data scientist role, some other role, right? So you can create any role here. Okay, so before going to these predefined role, I think I have not created my custom dev role, right? So let me do that in the UI. Okay, so So where you can see in the role in the UI is here, guys. Okay. So see, this particular drop down is for roles. Okay. These are the roles here. Account admin or org admin is another role. Okay. So that is added 1 year back. Public, security admin, sysadmin, user admin. These are all predefined roles. Okay. So each user will have some roles. Okay. So now I created a developer role, a developer user, right? Okay. Now tell me, what is the role this developer is having by looking at the worksheet. Okay. I'll open a worksheet. Tell me what is the role this particular developer is having in the user interface?
Public.
Public, right? So you're seeing he's having a role called public. So if I go back to the role hierarchy, public role is like a low hanging fruit. Okay, so it will be available for everyone. So as soon as you create the user, this is available to everyone. This is the default role that they will get. Okay, so for example, I want to make some data that is available to everyone. So I will give the select action on that table to this public role so that everyone can query that. Okay, so if you want to make something public, so you can give the access to this public role. Okay, but if I want to create my own role, I can do that. So let's say I want to create a role called development role. Create role, dev role. Okay, now after creating the role, I can attach this role to the user. So what I can do here, grant role, development role to user developer one. So once I give this role to the developer once, you're going to see that role reflected in his here. Let me refresh this. Sometimes it will not reflect immediately. See, so this particular developer is now having two roles. One is public role, other one is development role. Okay, so this is how you can have multiple roles to a user. Okay, see, the developer one is having dev role and public, but if you see my initial user, so this is my root user where I was creating my Snowflake trial account. I gave this user ID, right? Vinod Kottakonda. This is my user ID. Okay, so now I'm having all the predefined roles because I am the master. I mean, I am the boss of this particular account who has created it. So I'll get all the access like account admin, sysadmin, security admin, everything here. Okay, and these are predefined roles, guys. These are all predefined roles, and this dev role is a custom role here. Okay, now moving to the next point. So if you have some questions, you can interrupt me, guys. This is important concept to understand. So moving to the predefined roles. So why we have these many roles and what is the purpose of each and every role? Like account admin, security admin, sysadmin, user admin, and public. Okay, if you take account admin is the have control over your account. Okay, he has every right on your account. Okay, so for example, now I am using account admin role here. I can do anything with your account. So this is like highest level of elevated access you have. Okay, see here, I have what I have done. I have created database schema, table, warehouse, user role, everything I did. Okay, that is like, and plus you have some extra privileges also. So let's say I want to share the data from this Snowflake account to your Snowflake account. Okay, so I can do that. Okay, so that is account admin role. Now, what is sysadmin role? Let us try to understand what is sysadmin role. Sysadmin role is responsible for that role that has privileges to create warehouses and databases. So if you go back to this hierarchy, sysadmin will cover this database, warehouse, schema, and this low level objects. Okay, only these things. Okay, and if you consider security admin, role that can manage any object grant globally as well as create, monitor, and manage users and roles here. So what does this mean is if you go back to this object hierarchy, this particular users and roles can be managed by your security admin. Okay, so let us try to see now. Now I did this with account admin, right? So all these activities I did with account admin. Because I am the account admin, I have every access. So in the real time, this account admin is not given to multiple people. At max, there will be 2 account admins per your account. Okay, because if account admin is given to multiple people, so you can do anything with this particular account, right? So only the administrators, the SMEs will get access to this particular account admin role. Okay. Now I'm changing my role to sysadmin. Okay. So let's say I'm sysadmin here. Okay. I'm sysadmin. Now what sysadmin can do? Sysadmin can sysadmin can create a database. So let's call create a database DB1. Okay, and you can create a schema using sysadmin. Create schema db1.schema1, and you can create a table or any other object inside this particular schema. So let me create table here in db1.schema1. Right, and okay, db1.schema1. I did not create this. Yeah, I created this. Now I am creating a table. Okay, so I can create a warehouse also. Create warehouse. Let's say demo warehouse. So these things can be done by your sysadmin. Okay, so sysadmin can create database schema, other objects, and then your warehouses here. So if I refresh here, you'll see the particular database DB1, okay, and schema1, and you have a table here, and you have a warehouse here. But if you want to create a user, so let's try another user. Create user developer2, password equal to some password I'm giving. I'm trying to do this with sysadmin. It will not allow, because you are, as a sysadmin, you are not authorized to create a user. So as a sysadmin, you can only create these objects here. Okay, so this particular database, warehouse, and all other objects. But if you want to create user and roles, you need to be security admin. Okay, so if you want to create a user and role, you need to switch to security admin. Security. Okay, so now you can create a user using security admin. And I can create a role also. Let's say this is create role, some test role. And I can grant this test role to the user. Right? So security admin can do these activities, guys. Okay. So sysadmin can do these activities, security admin can do these activities, but an account admin can do both the activities. Okay, because account admin is the parent of your sysadmin and security admin. So plus you have some extra privileges also. We are going to discuss that later. Okay, so you understood these 3 things, guys? Or you have any question? Any question on these rules? Clear?
No, no, Vinod.
Ah, cool, cool. So now I'm going to explain one scenario. Okay, and then we can wrap up. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is in Snowflake, the access control mechanism is called role-based access control. Okay, so let me go back to the user interface. and I'm changing my role to account admin. Okay. Now see, so here I'm refreshing it here. Okay. Now see, who is the owner of development database? Who is the owner? Who is the owner case for the development database? You can see it here, right? It's account admin, right? And who is the owner of DB1?
Developer.
Oh,
Sysadmin.
sysadmin. Yeah. So
Sysadmin.
yeah, I want to make this point clear. So here it's completely role-based access control. So ownership is with the role, not with the user. So it doesn't matter with which user you have created, what role you are using while creating this database or schema, right? That will be considered. So while creating development database, I used account admin role. Okay, that's the reason. So everything will be owned by account admin. While creating DB1, I did it with sysadmin. So that's the reason they are with sysadmin. Okay, so remember that point. Now, what I'm going to do is I created this database, schema, table, and user, everything, right? And warehouse, right? So let me draw one diagram. You will be clear now. So this is my root user ID. I mean, the initial user ID I have created, and I have account admin access. Have account admin access. And there is one more user created called developer one, and he has, what is the role he has? Dev role. If you remember, I created a role called dev role, custom role here. Okay, I created dev role. He is developer one. Okay, now this particular account admin has created some objects. So what objects he has created? He created a database called dev. Or he created a database called dev. He created a schema. Let's take the schema called HRMS. He created a table called employee. Let's take this as table. This is employee table. And he created a warehouse called development warehouse. Let's call this is our warehouse. Right? That is what the warehouse name we used, dev warehouse. Now, this particular developer want to access all these objects, all these 4 objects, which I have given here. Now, how we can manage that permissions? Let's try to understand here. Okay, so if you log into developer, you will not see all those things. So I am with dev role. See in the left hand side, am I seeing development database? Am I seeing HRMS schema or employee table? Or am I seeing any warehouse here? No, right? So now I am going to give the permission for each and every object. So that is what I'm going to show you. Okay. Now, first thing, this particular developer or dev role want to run one sample query. Let's say select star from a table. Select star from this particular table. So it's saying no active warehouse selected. So what is the reason you're not seeing the result here?
There is no read permission.
Is it read permission or some other? You can see the message here.
With different warehouse.
Yeah, so you don't have a computation power here. See, you don't have any computation power. To get the results, you need some server to run this query. So you don't have the warehouse, right? So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to give this dev warehouse access to development role. I'm going to provide this dev warehouse access to development role. So how I am going to do this? I'm going to do this from account admin role. Okay. So I'll go here and simply I'll say, so this is for warehouse permissions. I'll share this sheet with you at the end of the class. Okay. So grant usage. Okay. He wants to use that warehouse. Grant usage on warehouse. So what is the warehouse I want to give? Dev underscore warehouse to role dev underscore role. I want to give the usage and development warehouse to role developer role. So once this is completed, you can go back to the developer role and you should see this particular warehouse now. Okay. So now this guy can query. Okay. Simply say select star from stable. See. So now he has the compute power to run this query. He got the result. So what I did, I gave the usage access on the table, right? I gave the usage access on the warehouse, sorry, on the warehouse. So he can use the warehouse and run the query. Now, let's assume this particular uh, user wants to change the size of the warehouse. So yesterday I told you the warehouse comes with different sizes, t-shirt sizes, like extra small, small, medium, right? So now he want to change the size, but he does not have any option from UI, okay? Or you have a command. So generally, you does not have any option. But if you go to account admin, let's say I want to change the development warehouse size. Simply here, you can check this box and here you get the drop down. Simply change it whatever the size you want and run your query. Because your account admin, you created this warehouse, you have this option. Okay. Now I want to give this permission to the developer role. So what I can do here is grant modify. So it's a different privilege on the warehouse modify so that he can modify the size of the warehouse. So why do we modify the size of the warehouse? In which scenario? In which scenario we modify the warehouse?
For example,
La-
we need to load a huge number of
Large.
records data.
Correct. So when you're loading data and let's say it's taking 1 hour time and I want to do it in 30 minutes. So maybe I need to increase the warehouse size. Or let's say I'm running very complex query. It is taking some 6 hours and it is not fitting the table data into that particular server. So there are some indications how we can find this particular query is not fitting into that warehouse. Okay. So we'll see query plan and identify. So in such cases, you may need to increase the virtual warehouse size. So that time your query may run faster. Okay. So simply now I am doing from extra small to small, right? So now you have the privilege to change the size of the warehouse. Okay. Now the interesting thing, this particular warehouse is running now. If you see the status is started, that means it's running. Now I know this warehouse is not going to be used today. So I want to switch off this warehouse or shut down this warehouse, right? So how can I do this is I can do this with an alter command saying alter warehouse, okay, warehouse name and suspend. I can say suspend. I don't want to run this warehouse unnecessarily and pay the money to Snowflake, right? So I want to suspend it, but you don't have this privilege, right? So you need to provide a special privilege called operate for that. Okay. So if you want to operate, you need to provide operate. Okay. So if you have the operate privilege, you can go and suspend the warehouse. Okay. So as soon as you suspend it, you will see that it is suspended here. So this warehouse is not running here. Okay. So this is the operate privilege, guys. Okay. So now I gave three kinds of access like modify, usage and operate. Correct? Usage, modify and operate. So these three access I have given here. Okay. So clear, guys, with these three permissions, or you have any question? Now let us try to understand the database level privileges. So he has the, I mean, this guy has the warehouse, he is running some queries. But if you go back to that developer, he does not have this particular database called development, right? This one, right? The Windows is not shown. Okay, so see here, this particular user does not have development database to access, right? So in the left hand side, it should show the development database. So now I am going to give database level permissions for this particular user here. Okay, so let me do that. So we did warehouse. Now I am going to give the database level permissions. Database permissions. Correct. So what we are going to do is we are going to say grant, again same usage on database. What is the database? Development database to role dev role. So if we have this particular permission, just they can use this database. I mean, they can see some information about the database. Okay, it's not the full access. Let's see one interesting thing now. So when I, sorry here, let's just go. Yeah. So if I refresh now, you'll see development database. But if I expand this development database, you're only getting information schema. Okay, but what you have here in the development database, you have information schema, you have public, you have HRMS. But by default, when I give usage access, you'll only able to see the information schema for the database. So what is the information schema for this database? Anyone have any idea what is generally information schema is?
Is it metadata?
Exactly. So yesterday I was telling Snowflake maintains metadata about each object, not only Snowflake, every database actually. So this particular schema is going to store all your metadata. Let's say you have created 100 tables. So all the 100 tables data it will be storing here. So you created 10 functions. All the 10 functions data will be stored here. So everything will be tracked here. Okay. So when I give the usage access, by default, you will get only access to that metadata schema. Okay, so you need to grant schema level privileges separately. But first of all, just I am doing the database level privilege now. Okay, so with usage access, you only can see the information schema. Right. So now this guy is able to see the information schema, but let us assume wants to modify some property of this database. So when I say property of this database, it can be comment. So you're seeing comment here. It is hyphen is there. Okay, or let's say the uh, time travel period. So there is a feature called time travel. So how many days of backup data you want, right? So that can be set for the database. So let's say I want to modify such kind of parameters. So I can do this with alter database. So let me try to do alter database dev set comment equal to, simply I'm using comment, but there are other parameters also. And I'm giving some this database is created for demo. Let's try to run this command. See, it's saying insufficient privileges to uh, modify here. Okay. So again, if you want to do that, so what you need to do, you need to go for another privilege called modify on the database. So if you give this, you are going to modify the comment for the database or any other property. Okay. So if I refresh here, so now if you see, okay, it's not at the set. Let me refresh here. See the comment you are seeing, this database is created for demo, correct? So I am able to modify some property of the database with modify privilege. Okay. And there is one more command for your database to see what are the schemas inside your database and what is when they are created. So that is describe database. Okay. So this describe database is there in other database also. So when I say describe databases, it should show me like what kind of schemas are there, what kind of when they are created and all, right? But I am not having that privilege. Okay. So if you want to have that privilege, it is called monitor privilege. Okay. If you want to see some information about your database, you need to have monitor. Okay. So now go back here, you can run the describe database command, you are going to see the output here. So when it is created, whether it, what is the schema name, when it, I mean, what is the kind of it, okay? So, I mean, if you have multiple schemas access, you'll see all the rows here, okay? So this is for your database. And remember, when I give the database, you're not getting the access to schema, okay? All the HRMS schema or public schema. So you need to grant the access to schema explicitly. It's not like if you give the database, you'll get the access to schemas and tables. Okay. So now what I did, I gave the access on the database. So what access I gave here? Just I want to make it clear. Usage, modify, and monitor to describe the database, right? Now let's go to the schema level access. So schema also same again. You'll have three same permissions like your database: usage, modify, monitor. It's simple. Okay, so I am going to do same schema access, schema permissions, schema permissions. So here, instead of database, we'll call it a schema. Okay, database. Now we are going to give one schema called HRMS schema. So we'll say dev.hrms. So same things you can do. You can use the schema. You can modify the properties of schema. You can do the describe schema. Okay. So let me go back here. So now this guy should see all these schemas. I mean HRMS schema. So he's able to see the HRMS schema. He can change the comment of the or any property of the schema. Okay. And he can do describe schema. But see, when I give the schema access, you did not get access to tables. Okay. So to get the access to tables, you need to handle them separately. So table or any low level object here. It can be view or it can be stage or anything. Okay. So for table level privileges, this is the main important thing. So now you have different kinds of access on table. So you have select access on table. So grant select on table this employee rate. So you can say dev.hrms.employee to role dev role. So with this, he will get the select access to your table. I'm getting the select. So you can run a select statement here. Okay, there are no data, so just you're able to read it. But if you want to insert it, let's try to insert the data. You don't have that access, so it will fail. It will fail here because you don't have the insert access here. So if you want to give the insert access again, you can go here and write insert. So I'll go now, run the insert statement. So it will be executed fine and you'll be seeing that row. Similar way, if you want to delete access, update access, so you're going to give it here. So you don't need to give each and every table independent access. You can simply give a shortcut here. You can say something like this: update, comma, delete, comma, insert. You can specify any number of privileges here. Or you can simply say a shortcut word called all. All means insert, update, delete, everything. Select. If you give all, now you'll get the access here. All the 4 access here. Okay. Now clear, guys, with this, or you have any question on the table level privilege?
What does the monitor privilege do? Like it will allow the usage, the compute statistics to monitor on that, or
Monitor on which database schema?
uh-huh.
You can do the describe here. So describe command, describe a database. So when I say describe database, now you will be seeing like, see, this is information schema. This is created on this date and something like this. Okay. If I say describe schema, so you're going to see what are the tables available in that particular schema and some metadata. So monitor will give you this describe access, describe command access. Okay, it is going to
just
give you a
describe
table.
alone.
Yes.
That's all. Okay.
Yeah, that's all. Wanted to see some metadata? Yeah, you can do this.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Now, if you are clear with this, so we did this thing also. So this particular thing is completed. You got all the access. Okay. Now let's assume in the real time, you don't have a single table. You'll be having hundreds and hundreds of tables, right? So how you are going to grant the access in a bulk manner? So I don't want to do the grant for each and every table with a single grant statement. So if there are 1,000 tables, I need to write 1,000 grant statements, right? So how to do the grants in a bulk manner, right? So you can do that. So first of all, I'm going to create two tables. Create table T1. Table T2. Okay. So now you have a T1 and T2 here. Okay. Sometimes it won't reflect or okay. Okay. I got it. So why it is not showing here? Anyone have any guess? I have created two tables, but it is not showing here.
You didn't grant the access yet.
No, because I am the owner, account admin, so but I should see here, right? I have created the employee table, I'm seeing it. But I created T1, T2, I'm not seeing it in dev HRMS schema.
So where did you refresh in the top? Huh?
Yeah, I did it. Okay, so I'll tell you the reason. Maybe this is a user interface setting. Okay, if you see here, what is the default database and schema it is pointing to? DB1 and schema 1, correct? So it's pointing to this database DB1 and schema 1. So it is created here. So this is the most common mistake that we do. Okay, so we'll set something here and we'll be looking into another database. Okay, so if you're not specifying any database and schema for a table, it will take it from here. Okay, if you specify, so now I will change this to development database and HRMS schema. So these tables will be created there. Okay? It is here. Okay, so for the user interface setting, guys, this is for database, this is for schema, this is for role, this is for warehouse. So these four things you should be aware of. The session defaults. So as soon as you log in into your worksheet, before running any query, set all these four parameters. It's good. It's a good practice. Okay. Now I want to grant the access to all these two tables in one go. Okay. So what I'm going to do is grant. I'm giving all on all tables in schema HRMS to role dev role. So with this grant, you'll get all the access in a bulk manner. So all the three objects. So you are going to see everything here. Okay. So this is the way you grant the access in the bulk manner. Now I will ask you a question. I am creating another table called T3. So will this be seen in dev role directly or not?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. Any other guesses?
Yeah, this is with the account admin role, right? So it will be an account admin role.
But I gave all on all tables.
You already granted, right?
Yeah. Okay. Okay. I don't want to confuse you. So most of the people will tell the wrong answer. T3 will be available because we already gave grant all already on all tables. Okay. But this grant all on all tables will be applicable only for the existing tables at that point of time. It is not applicable for the future tables that are created. Okay. So this T3 will not be shown here. Okay, will not be shown here. So if you want to give the future table access, you need to give another set of command grant all on future tables. So if you create any tables in the future, now by automatically these dev role will get the access. Okay, now let's say I'm creating two tables, T4 and T5. Right? So this T4 and T5 will be shown because I gave the future access now, so everything will be shown here. So that is a small difference. Maybe it is new in that database because in other databases you don't have this feature. Okay, so if you want to give all the future tables, you can give on the future tables here. Okay, clear guys? Are any questions? Okay, so I'll stop it here today. In tomorrow's session, we are going to, I'm going to introduce to AWS, okay, the Amazon Web Services Cloud. So we are going to meet at 8 a.m. only. So I'm going to teach you some basics of AWS, and then we are going to see how AWS can be integrated with Snowflake guys. Okay.
Somebody, Vinod, can you share the yesterday demo link, please? Whatever.
Yeah, yesterday
recorded.
demo and today's both I
Yeah,
will be
please.
sharing. Okay, sure.
Thank
I'll
you so
do
much.
it. Yeah. Thank you guys. Thank you everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.